So horror movie fans are so passionate. I'm one of them, so I know.
Right.
What do you think it is about being scared that we love so much that we're willing to subject ourselves to potentially having nightmares?
I think that, I mean...
Sex and adrenaline are the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you want a rush. I think people go and see horror films for the same reason they get on a roller coaster at an amusement park, which I think is crazy. I hate roller coasters. I don't want to go anywhere near them, but a lot of people love them, and I think the reason they love them is the same reason people will pay good money to sit in a dark room surrounded by strangers having, scared out of them, so to speak. It's like you're craving the experience of fear within a safe environment. Yeah. Nobody wants to experience real fear when you're like walking to your car late at night and you suddenly realize someone's following you. No one wants that, but they don't mind sitting in a dark room watching it happen to someone else.
I think that's completely true. And there's something also, I think, physiologically about fear and it opening up. It's like laughter, crying, laughter. Those big emotions make you feel so alive. And there's something, whether it's that squealing with delight out of the fear. Like people love to scream. I mean, because it feels good. I mean, I think physiologically, it's a release, which is an important one to have. Because when you hold that stuff in, it gives you tummy aches and bad headaches. Right. So it's good to have. Oh, excuse me.
Don't let
to release.
Yeah, right. And that's what happens in the theater too. It's
and did happen. Sitting next to Lynn, I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
So you better go with someone you like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Since you're up in there.
Because everybody's
horror films are great date movies.
Holding hands, and I tell my story about, for some reason, I had like a knee-jerk reaction. There was something I was watching, and there was some stranger sitting next to me, and every time I got scared, I would go, oh, and I would hit this guy in the chest.
He's dead now.
I'm sorry,
really
excuse me. And then about 2 minutes later, it was like, oh! And the guy, I go, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry about this. And I mean, there's that.
She was watching Garfield too, which was the worst thing. It wasn't even a scary movie.
It opens an abandonment in you. That's what I was
Speak for yourself.
say.
A CGI cat terrifies me.
Yeah, it does actually. That was terrifying.
So now you've obviously worked with James frequently. Mm-hmm. Now you are also becoming a regular as well. What do you think he understands so much about this genre that he enables just to instill fear in his audience?
I mean, I think he's a huge horror fan first and foremost, and being a fan of something lets you approach it from an affectionate point of view rather than a clinical one. I mean, I haven't met all these horror filmmakers that are making films today, but a lot of the times when I watch them, it almost feels like they're approaching the horror genre from a very clinical perspective, like setting their watch to it, like, all right, it's been 10 minutes, we better put a scare in here, rather than letting it organically unfold. Mm-hmm. So he understands that, and I just think he's a great filmmaker, not just a great horror filmmaker, but I think he's really able to understand at what moment is the best moment to pull the ripcord and when not to pull the ripcord, and he's just good at that.
He also has, I think, a real understanding of the psychology of the characters. I mean, and the elements of those characters that will touch the audience. And I think that's part of the success of his films, is that the family unit is very real. The love of the family is very real. It's something that everyone can identify with, which then leads you towards the scare. And when you're made vulnerable like that, it makes it even scarier. And that's, I think, and I honestly think James will take his perceptions in whatever genre he works in. And I think he's a real visionary, a real exciting, he sees the world in a very specific, honest way, which I think is great. Mm-hmm. I love him.
And real quick, I for Specs, to portray Specs, I hear you had to do some ghost hunter apprenticing.
Yes.
What was that like?
That was awesome fun. Even before the first film, Angus and I went to Linda Vista Hospital where we shot some of Insidious too, but we went and ran around with these guys and they were so nice to let us come along, and it was just so fun. I mean, it's such a childhood, thing. It's such a young thing to do, to go into a dark building and expect to see ghosts. And I'm kind of a big kid, so I just enjoyed that aspect of running around this building, having fun.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.